If you haven't noticed or is new to our podcast, we grown. These stories are mostly R-rated. We talk very X-rated sometimes, so please be 18 or older to listen.
These stories are also retold by us in our own lingo, so they are not word for word. They might be a little out of order, but it's the gist of the story. If you go and look at it, it might be different, but we're telling it how we tell it.
Uh-huh.
Because reading is what? Fundamental.
Hey guys, welcome back to.
You forgot what we called, girl? You forgot what we called? Well, I'm about to use this in our bloopers.
Say, do you read BTS?
They was about to be like, wait, what? I could have sworn. That's funny.
Okay, let me try again. Hey guys, welcome back to What You Reading It. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Delize. Welcome back, guys. So this week, we are doing our first episode that is not a BTS fan fiction. Yay!
Yay!
So the books that we're going to be reviewing today, we actually are doing two because they're really quick reads. They're both by Nikki St. Crowe. It's on Amazon, it's on Audible, a bunch of different places you can find the books. It's at Barnes & Noble if you want the physical copy. But the series is called The Vicious Lost Boys. That's the overall series, but the first book that we're reading is called The Never King.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into it.
Okay, so at the beginning of the story, it's this girl, her name is Winnie Darling. And let me just say, before y'all listen to this, just know this is not what you think, okay? This is not what we all grew up looking at that movie and reading the books. It's totally different.
Okay, so just to give some background, this story is a Peter Pan twist. So
don't look at us like that, y'all.
Right, that's what Lisa's referring to. That's what Lisa's referring to. It's a Peter Pan twist, completely different than the Peter Pan that we grew up on.
Right. Okay, let me say this first. If you listen to our disclaimer, you know we grown. We do not slut shame around here. So when you hear these stories, y'all, please do not be slut shaming these women. Do not come at us because we telling you the story, okay? Now, that's all I wanted to say. So, in the beginning of this story, it's a girl. Her name is Winnie Darling. Now, in the beginning of the story, she is in the car with this guy, and they are going at it, okay? But in her head, she like, why am I here? This man ain't really doing nothing for me, but I'm going to do it just what I've been knowing. So, a little bit of a backstory to this, y'all. Right off the bat, I'm going to give y'all a bit of a backstory. Her mother has always raised her a certain way. So, I don't know, D, have you ever heard, you watched the Players Club before?
Mm-hmm.
When she say, you got to use what you got to get what you want?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think about in this story. So, in this story, she literally is using what she got to get what she wants. She's always been taught that way. Her mom has did it for years. A lady up the street that she knows did it for years. So that's what she know how to do. Okay. Mm-hmm. You guys will understand this as we go along in the story. So she's messing with this guy and she finishes and then she goes home. So when she goes home, her mama is insane. Okay. And you will understand why her mama is insane a little bit later, but her mama is not right in the head, okay? Her mama has done really weird things to her, and she's always been telling her, like, little stories that she never believed. So, the whole time her growing up, she's always been hearing this stuff about Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, and flying, and magic, and mayonnaise. She didn't believe any of that because who would believe that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So her mom was, had her, she had her own way of doing things, but she did it for a reason. So when she got home, it's her 18th birthday. So she got home and her mom's freaking out. She's like, oh, where you been? Let me get you something to drink. Stay in your room. Do not move, okay? She's like, no, mama, I can go out and get my own food. I'm good. I'm 18. And she's like, listen, stay in this room. Do not come out. I'm going to get you something to eat. Before she came back into that room good, Peter Pan was already there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so Peter Pan was like, what was her mama name?
Mary.
Mary. So he was like, Mary, don't make this harder than it has to be. You know what this is. You know what we got to do. And she's like, no, don't get her. I'm going to protect my baby. Please don't take her. And he was like, well, we can either do this the easy way or the hard way. What's it going to be? And so, which I don't know about this, because she's very sassy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, who gonna pick the hard way? So the easy way. And he was like, Peter Pan was like, wrong idea. There's no easy way. That's the first rule. And so, before you knew it, she was blacked out. And she was in Never Never Land, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when she got to Never Never Land, she woke up and she sees Peter Pan looking like, he was looking good, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now I pictured what these guys look like, and I'm gonna tell y'all about it a little bit later because I want to hear what D got to say too.
Mm-hmm.
But so Peter Pan was looking good, so that's how she sees. She was like, "Oh, he look good." And who are these other two over here? They looking good too. So the other two name was Bash and Cass.
Mm-hmm.
And they, or is it Bash? Bash or Bash?
Bash.
Bash and Cass. Okay, and they are twin brothers. I don't know if they fraternal.
I don't know either, girl. It just said they was brothers, but I don't know. I mean,
yeah, they just say they're twin brothers, but in my head, they don't look alike to me. In my head.
That's funny because I thought they looked alike, but like different. Like, okay, that sounded dumb, but I felt like they looked alike, but like one had dark hair, one had light hair. One was a little bit more stocky, one was a little bit more lean. You know what I mean? But they were still like identical. Right.
Okay. See, mine not identical at all. You know why?
No, I get it.
But they were twins, okay? It matched in my head. So anyway, so she sees Bash and Cash. She's like, who are these people? And then, you know, they pretty much was trying to get her acquainted to Never Never Land. Like, they were trying to see her and stuff like that. And then Peter Pan was like, okay, she here, I gotta go to bed. And so Peter Pan left and went to bed, and then the twins kind of kept her company, giving her food, and then she met Vane, which is my favorite.
Mm-hmm. You just sound like big and fine and just.
Listen, Vane is everything. Okay, I get it. I get it too. Okay?
I get it too.
Y'all would say while we say we get it. Okay, so she meets Vane, and she's like, who is this man? Why am I so terrified of Vane? She didn't understand why she was terrified, but Vane had that, what do you call it? Like that persona about him, like that atmosphere about him. Well, what do you say? He had
that aura, but he also had like he had a dark shadow that was attached to him. So
but she didn't know that then.
Yeah, she didn't know that then.
So every time Vane came around, she would just get scared. But she didn't know why she was scared, but she also was like, I want him at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, so she met him too, and he was just like, bye, little girl, get away from me. Here's the darling. That's what they call her, which I love, that they call her the darling, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And so she met all them, and that was pretty much really the gist of it.
So one of the rules though that Peter Pan had put in place was that they aren't supposed to touch the darling. Like, they supposed to let her be because she's there to do a job.
Right.
So this is kind of a backstory we didn't give, but the reason why so Peter Pan always comes for the darling women when they turn 18 every time.
Uh-huh.
And the reason why he does that is because the very first darling that came to the island, which was Wendy, stole something from him. So the thing that she stole from him was his shadow. So he's been taking the darling women since then to kind of go into their memories to figure out if they know something, because apparently memories are passed down, whether
Inherited.
they're inherited whether they know it or not. So he gets into their brain to find out like what they may know. So that's what she's there for. That's why they even have her in the first place.
Right. And then they chain her up. That's the first thing they did when they had her. Chain her up. They chained her up, and then she was like, okay, I like this. Like,
right.
But you know what they always say in every story we read? Man, there's something different about her.
Something different about her. I don't know what it is.
I just don't know what it is.
Girl.
It don't matter if you read a fan fiction or fiction. It's still the same in that way. It's always going to be like, I don't know why. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. So so Peter Pan goes into his tomb. The reason why he goes into the tomb is because since he doesn't have his shadows and stuff like that, he's not able to really stay in the sun like that anymore. So until he gets his shadow, he has to only come out at night. He can't fly right now because he doesn't have his magic. So he goes away.
And the island is dying.
So Neverland is dying. He still calls himself king, but everybody can kind of see like what's going on. But the people still follow him. Like the rest of the Lost Boys, like they still follow him. There's like girls on the island that be, having sex with them and stuff like that on occasion, because that's what they used to doing. And then there's this girl named Cherry, who is one of the girls that is on the island that comes and meets with Winnie. So Winnie's trying to figure out like how she can get out of here, because she doesn't know, she doesn't know at this point what's going on, why she's there, what she needs to do, nothing. But she knows that her homegirl, I don't remember the lady's name, the one Starla. I think you're right. Yeah, Starla. So Starla always told her kind of what you were saying in the beginning about you got to use what you got to get what you
want.
Yeah. So
you know what? When I thought about Starla, you know what I thought about? Because Starla lived up the street from her mama, and she made a lot of money being a hooker. Okay, this is what she did. She was proud of what she did, and that was cool, right? So this one reminded me of. Now I don't know if you noticed, but Dolly Parton back in the day had this woman that stayed up the street from her, and the town called her a whore, but Dolly Parton always wanted to be just like her. So that's why Dolly Parton got them big titties and had that big hair, and she is who she is because of that lady up the street. And that's what I thought about. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Yeah, that's why she got the big titties and small waist and big hair, and Dolly Parton, because of that lady up the street that everybody called a whore.
Huh.
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't know that.
But that's what made me think of Starla.
Okay, I didn't. That's cool. That's really cool. Okay. I didn't know that.
Sorry.
No, you good. That was a cool little tidbit. So she was like, I got to figure out how to use what I can, to get what I want. So she's talking to Cherry, trying to see like what information she can get out of Cherry. Cherry loves Vane, loves that man down. And so she's had sex with the twins at some point. I can't remember if she ever had sex with Peter Pan or not, but I
don't think she ever been with Peter Pan. She only been with the twins and Vane.
Okay. So she was kind of giving her a little bit of information, but not trying to say too much, because she knows that she wasn't supposed to say too much. And when they were talking, I think one of the twins or Vane? Somebody came in and kept her from talking.
Uh-huh.
So,
And the crazy thing is, nobody really likes Cherry at all.
right, which is so wild. And then you find out later why, which that doesn't come up for a while.
Yeah.
That comes up in the third book.
But still don't really understand why they really didn't like her like that. Like that.
Yeah. When you read the
It
third
doesn't
book,
come up.
when you read the third book, you're gonna be like, okay.
Well, I mean, at the end of the second book, I'm like, okay, but it doesn't explain why the boys don't like her. I understand what she's doing, but I don't understand why they don't like her. Like, is she just annoying?
I think they felt like she was annoying more so than anything, and was kind of a liability. But she was loyal to them.
Yeah,
she was real loyal to them. So
she really was.
Yeah, I don't know why they felt like they did towards that girl, but they did.
All I remember is that old girl was trying to get the information on Cherry. She couldn't really get anything out of Cherry. And then I think Cass came in and like he was being really nice to her. And when they got like about to go to sleep, she was trying to get with Cass. She was like, I'm about to use when I die. So she was asking him questions and talking to him, and, being flirtatious with him. And he was like, he got all flustered because he was feeling it. Because for some reason, he don't understand why. Mm-hmm. He feel like he do with this girl. Mm-hmm. But she ain't him all flustered. I forgot what she was saying to him. But she was saying some stuff to him. And he got, he like, oh, she getting me hot. I ain't supposed to be messing with the dollar. I got to go.
And I think she was grabbing on him a little bit too. And he like popped up and was like, you need to stop. So when that happened, he leaves out of the room and goes straight into town. And then,
because he like, I gotta get some.
Yeah, so he goes into town, finds a girl, has her suck his dick, and then she's watching out the window as this is happening, but she's getting all hot and bothered by watching him do that to that girl. So then Bash that comes in and was like, what did you do to my brother or something like that, and she was like, I don't know what you talking about, blah blah blah. But then doesn't she end up giving him head too?
Pretty much. She don't give him head. She have sex with him.
Oh, does she have sex with him? Okay, so then she has sex with him. And Peter Pan, first of all,
Peter Pan walked in. She was straddling him
and told them not to stop.
He like, go on, finish what you was doing.
Finish what she was doing. Go ahead, see what happens.
And of course, she like, oh, I don't know why I like this, but I want him to see.
Mm-hmm. That was the start of a beautiful story.
Yeah. Right. This is like the first chapter.
Right. This is at the very beginning of the book. It starts off with it.
Well, it started off with it anyway because she was in the car all day.
Right. That's true.
So they finish and Bash is like, oh, that was hot, And then Peter Pan did hands too, Donnie. She gave Peter Pan hand.
I think so. Because he was like, if you want to be, what did he say? If you want to be a filthy whore, let me show you, or something like that.
So she like, I'm with it.
Right, she was down for the cause. I appreciate homegirl. She was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm not even sure why I'm here, but while I'm here, all these fine men.
I mean,
come one, come all.
I mean, my question to you would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wouldn't have had to think
I mean,
twice.
You in Never Land. It's magic here. You clearly can see it. Like, I mean, I may not be going back, so I'm hurt.
So this is the thing, though. She didn't think that all of this was real, like even while she was there, because one of the big things for her was she didn't want to lose her mind because her mom has snapped. Anytime somebody comes back from Neverland, they are not the same. And so she was, one of her main concerns was that she was going to lose her mind, and she didn't want to do that because she liked where she was at. She went through a lot of mess. Her mom put her through a lot of mess with different people with magic and things like that to try to protect her. Like she had scars and stuff on her back from all the stuff her mom had people doing to her and all this other stuff. So She didn't want to lose her mind. So in the back of her head, she's not even feeling like, oh, this is real like that. So
right, like she thinking, am I losing my mind now?
Right, like already.
Right.
So that happens.
And
I don't know. So yeah, so she doesn't think any of this real. So she's like, well, I'm here, I'm about to we're gonna figure it out. So she's like, I feel like and it actually says it in the book. She's like, I know I can get to one of them, and if I can get to one of them, I probably can get to all of them. What she didn't expect was how hard it was going to be for some of them, or one of them. But she was going to try to figure out a way to do it. So
right, she was trying to really get to, she was really trying to get to Cass first because he was the softest. He was the nicest. So she thought she could get through him first, but then come to find out it was Bash that she could get all the information from.
Mm-hmm. And so they're kind of telling her. So they end up going to sleep after that, and so they go to sleep. In the morning, Cass makes some breakfast. It's amazing breakfast. She's never had anything like it, and she is tearing that food up. And they're kind of looking at her like, first of all, she's like really, really skinny. She doesn't look like well. She looks like she's been living a very tough life, and they're kind of blown by the fact that she seems to be enjoying herself. And she's like, they're kind of asking her like, why do you seem like you're on vacation? Because the life that she's been living has been so hard. So this low key is a vacation for her.
Right. And not to mention, she really been taking care of her mama her whole life.
Right. And that was one of the big things too, because she was scared that with her leaving, her mom was gonna fall apart. So they're kind of noticing like how she's eating and everything like that, and she's like, oh, this is so good, these are amazing, blah 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 blah. So they're like, yeah, we always make breakfast, or we always cook and eat and all that stuff. So then there's a point where I can't remember if this was in the morning, or I feel like there was some conversation that was had. Vane was kind of lurking around because I feel like she wasn't she, is this the time when she was like bent over the counter? And they were cooking, and she would licked off the frosting or whatever off of one of the twins' fingers, and Vane came in. She was trying to get them hot and bothered, and then Vane came in and like picked up the icing and like smacked it on her face or something like that. Really weird. And she was so offended. Yeah. I mean, I would have been too. Like, excuse you.
Right. No, what the funniest part, because I'm gonna skip real quick, y'all. So it was at this point, she just trying to figure out why she here. They eventually told her, okay, one of the fans told her, we trying to get Peter Pan's shadow, and the only way we can do it is by going through your memories and all kind of stuff like that. They end up telling her about the dark shadow and Peter Pan's light shadow, and they end up telling her all this stuff about their mom. So let me just tell y'all a quick backstory of the mom. So their mom was Tinkerbell. It was three of them: Bash, Cass, and what was the sister name? Tilly. Now Tilly is the queen of
the Fae.
Fae was like, to me, fairies. Like they say in the story. And what we would see as Fae, we see them as fairies, but they call them the Fae.
Mm-hmm.
So she was queen of the Fae because Bash and Cass killed their daddy, because he was trying to pretty much option off their sister.
But
basically,
Tinkerbell was in love with Pan.
Peter Pan was in love with Pan, but Tinkerbell was not the Tinkerbell y'all know, and we know she was vicious. Right. Okay, all she wanted was Peter Pan,
and she didn't want nobody to get around him. And at the time, Pan, this is when Winnie's grandmother was there, so Pan was in love with Wendy. Tinkerbell didn't like that.
Right.
Ooh, so that story gets so good, girl. Ooh, you just when you get to the rest of it, like, you're gonna be like, what?
Oh yes, yeah. They tell me, don't tell me.
Yeah.
Because I'm about to know in about 2 days.
Yeah, I won't even let you know, girl. It's so good. You're gonna be like, wow, this is crazy. I see how this is all connected.
Right. So Peter Pan actually killed Tinkerbell because Tinkerbell can't kill Wendy. Now, the way that you kill fairies is by looking at them and say, I don't believe in fairies. I don't understand why people just went doing that left and right. Like, just to kill them. Like, why was Barry Cash in any kind of battle when all you can say is, I don't believe in fairies?
Right, and poof, gone.
Yeah. But anyway, that's how he killed Tinkerbell, and they considered that kind of like more disrespectful than just actually killing her, because they didn't like give her a chance to defend herself or say anything. So anyway, Sebastian Cash is explaining to her, how Tinkerbell is dead, that's their mother, why they are not in the kingdom, why they don't have wings no more, why they can't fly. All this is because they killed their dad. And so, where am I going with this?
See, I keep doing that too.
I'm just trying to explain to y'all a little bit of the backstory without trying to tell you the whole story, because you guys will not understand unless you actually read the story.
And there's 4 parts, so some of the stuff comes out later in the first book, some of it comes out in the second book, which we're gonna review that one as well. So
go ahead, girl.
So they go into that whole thing about who's what and where and why. So one of the things is the way that Pan is able to get into the Darling's head is using Tilly, which is the twin sister. So the twin sister has this ability to look at memories and all of that. So they have a plan, since the Darling is now there, to meet up, have Tilly come out to dig in her head to figure out where the shadow is. So homegirl's like, I don't really know what y'all talking about, but all right, dig in my head, whatever. But then she starts kind of getting worried about it, because she's like, I don't want to, like, is this what caused my mom to lose her mind? Like, is this what happened? Because I don't want that for me. And they're like, you're going to be fine. Like, it's going to be okay. So I'm going to just jump ahead to when Tilly comes. Is that cool? Okay. So Tilly comes down. She's gorgeous. She's got wings. She's glowing. All that. She is happy to see Pan, kind of. But she doesn't really acknowledge her brothers like that. Like, they want so desperately to be, like, back in their kingdom. But it's just not happening like that, because what they did was unforgivable.
And they want their wings.
And they want their wings back. So she ends up going into the girl's head, and the girl Winnie's is going through it. It's causing her a lot of pain. She's really going through it. And the one person who steps up while all this is going on is Vane. Nobody knows why Vane does it, because who knows why he feels like this and why he felt like the need to stop it. But he felt the need to stop it because he was concerned about homegirl's safety. So he take her to the room. She go to sleep. He like stays in there with her because she's not doing well, and she's also kind of scared. So he stays in there with her for a little bit, and then she falls asleep. And
they don't even really care for the girl, y'all.
Don't even care for her like that. But he do a little bit. He do.
But you don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
And we didn't mention the part where he spit in her mouth.
Oh yeah, was that when he did it? Was that when the with the icing? Is that when that happened?
I think so. When he did that icing, she was like, "Ooh, I want him." Basically, and then he was like. He came up close to her, opened her mouth, and she was like, because they already had their way with her in their kitchen. And so then Vane came up, she was like, I'm about to get a fast one. I done had Peter Pan, I done had Bash, I done had Cash. I'm about to get Vane too. What? And he go to her, open up her mouth, and she like open her mouth like, yeah, what you about to put in this mouth? He just spit in her mouth, and he like, you'll get nothing from me.
I would have been fighting. She
was pissed.
I was like, dang, that's disrespectful. I get it. Like, in the heat of the moment, okay. Like, if they was popping like that, then okay. But you doing that when she wasn't, yeah, that was messed up.
Yeah, but you know that the man got a dark shadow. That was that's the least. I mean,
Right.
like, that wasn't even that bad.
So one of the things that we also need to mention is that he always tells her, do not run.
Don't
He
run.
always says, don't run. And there's a point where this is earlier in the story. They're somewhere out by the water or something. on the island.
That's the second story.
Oh, just kidding.
she
Just kidding.
didn't even get down with Vane until book 2.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Just kidding.
Uh-huh.
We will talk about that in a minute. You know what?
And in
Now
a
that-
minute, because this is so fast.
Yeah, now I'm thinking that we kind of should just said both of the stories at the same time so we could just keep talking about it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
It's okay. So she's in the room, she's sleeping, and then she wakes up out of nowhere because she's starting to get some of the memories back that were tapped into by Tilly. So she wakes up and she's like, I gotta find Pan. Like, let me know where Pan's at. And they're like, oh, he's in the tomb. And she's like, I need to go there right now. And so he's
which,
like,
by the way, I'm sorry, this was not Tilly's plan. Tilly was not trying to help her, y'all.
exactly. So there's like this whole scheme.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Like, Tilly was not trying to help her. Tilly had, for years and years, centuries, had been doing this to every darling girl. So she's supposed to be helping Peter Pan by getting their memory back, but what she's doing is making them crazy and distorting their memory.
And she's taking the memories that she's finding and using that to her advantage so that she can find out where the shadow is. But she always tells Pan, like, I don't know. I don't know there's nothing in there. It's all scrambled. So when he pops up, she goes to find Pan in his tomb, and she's like, she walks in there, it's super dark, and she's like, this is crazy, this is kind of creepy, but all right. So she's like, hey, I think I may know. Oh, actually, she asked him, who is the lady that glows or something like that? And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, who is the lady? Like, just tell me who the lady is. And he's like, oh, that's Tinkerbell or whatever. And she's like, I think she took your shadow. Or she's the one that took your shadow. It wasn't my grandmother. It was actually her. So she's kind of explaining to him, like, why that whole plan came to be, what was going on. She's like, but I think I know where it's at. She said, but we got to go back to the regular world. So I don't know how we going to get there, but we got to go back there because I know where it's at. So they're like, okay, cool. He says, I can't fly. Vane is the only one that can fly. Vane's like, I'm not carrying all y'all on me. So yeah. So what we about to do is jump off this cliff. And once we jump off this cliff, we're gonna pop up in the regular world again. Homegirl's like, I don't know, this doesn't sound right. But this whole place is full of magic. Let's okay. I'm gonna take y'all word for it, but I'm not really too sure. So they end up jumping. They go back to the regular realm, and her mom's there, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, hey, blah blah blah." So she's like, "Hey girl, give me 2.5. I gotta go find this thing real quick." So she goes to find the chest, and in the dream or in the memory, it's like a little compartment underneath this chest that you can kind of like push or tap on, and it pops out.
Right, but what you failed to tell is first of all, we're in book 2 now, y'all.
Are we in book 2? No.
We are.
They find the shadow in book 1.
I thought it started off with them getting to the house, and the Browning is there.
So they find the shadow in book 1. This is okay. So in book 1, they find the shadow and everything like that, and they get it back to Neverland. Book 2, no, they do. This is why. Let me tell you. They find the shadow, they get it back to Neverland. He gets ready to open it, and the shadows dip off. So both of the shadows disappear, and they don't find them and then they find out where they're at. In the second book, it starts off where Peter Pan's upset because he doesn't have the shadow, and everybody lost track of the shadow, and that's when it starts from there. But in the first book, they actually do find it.
Okay. So we still at the end of the book. We are at the end of book 1. Right. However, we have to mention the Brownie.
Yes.
So when they got there, the door was unlocked. Mm-hmm. And she was like, why is this door unlocked? My mama would never leave it unlocked. What's going on? So she started hollering for her mama or whatever. They got in there, and a Brownie was there. Now, I don't know what a Brownie is. I don't know if you know, but in my head, there was a wolf. I don't know why I thought that. Maybe because True Blood comes to mind every time I read or think about something with magic.
There's so
But
many
it was
magic things out there. True Blood's what you go with.
every time.
Oh, girl.
So anyway, so the brownie was there. Brownie works with the Fae.
Mm-hmm.
So the brownie that was there was pretty much Tinkerbell's right hand man, and he been scheming with Tinkerbell since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So, however, they not that smart. They be thinking he thought he was gonna do something, but he actually just got killed.
You definitely did. They killed that man fast, or that thing fast.
Right.
Super fast. They have this
So-
whole little battle.
A hand battle, and I don't even know why they had to do all that. It
Girl.
wasn't that serious.
It
They should have
wasn't.
killed him quickly.
Yeah. Because
But-
there was other like beings there as well that
Uh-huh.
they had to fight off, but they were very powerful, so it took
Right,
time.
real power. Like even though Peter Pan didn't have his shadow, he still was very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you know what it reminded me of when I think about that part about Peter Pan being powerful, but not that powerful, Naruto.
Okay.
You know why? Because you remember Naruto was really, really, really powerful after a certain time, but he was only half powerful. Everybody thought how powerful he was, but he only had half of the Nine-Tail Beast.
Mm-hmm.
His daddy had the other half.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I thought about when I been thinking about stuff.
You're so funny.
But that's what I thought about when I was thinking about Peter Pan, because Peter Pan was still very powerful, very, very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
He just wasn't fully powerful. He didn't have his shadow, so he wasn't that powerful as he could have been.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was saying.
Okay. So they fight the Brownings. They get the Winnie finds the little box, which in my head it seemed like it was a little box you could put in your hand, which I was very confused by. So I'm like, why?
No,
would
it was a chest.
No, the chest. There was a big chest, but then the compartment in which the shadow was held was in a box, in a compartment in the chest.
Oh, yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
I was like, how did they put a shadow in this small little box? You know what I mean?
How did they get the shadow?
Right.
Period. The way
that's
you be running around.
Right. That's a yeah. So so she has this in her hand and she gives it to him, and he's like, thank you so much, you can stay here, girl. And she's like, no, take me back with you.
Uh-huh. And then she was like, I'm gonna take my mama to her. Mama was like, no, girl, go ahead.
Right, I'm good. I had my
I'm
time,
good right
but I'm
here,
good.
you know.
She's like, I really like
Like,
this house.
I done set up there with my crazy, so.
Right. She's like, I know you're gonna be good. I'll be good. It's fine, girl. You enjoy. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Like, it's it. Oh, so he thinks about it for a hot second, and he's like, all right, come on. So she goes back with him. So she's happy now. She's
But
like,
by that time, y'all, we said, we failed to mention that over time, they are falling more and more and more for Winnie Darling, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All of them, like deep, like they ain't saying love, but that's pretty much what it was.
Right. They had these very strong feelings for this girl. They wanted to protect this girl. Like, they always wanted to make sure she was good. So they get back to Neverland.
That pussy power.
Okay, that thing must have been golden. Okay, she had a mouth on her, and she had some coochie that was fire. Like, good for her.
Hey, yeah,
Loved
she
it.
did what she was doing.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Donna.
Love that.
Thank
for
you,
her.
Starla.
Starla. Yeah,
That's
Starla did her thing. You taught our girl good.
right.
So they get back to Neverland, and she's like, all right, so, here's the thing with your shadow, whatever. So he gets ready to open it, and as he opens it, the shadows disappear. One goes in one direction, the other goes in the other direction. And now everybody's trying to figure out how to find them. So,
But how in the world they get two shadows in there?
that's what I'm
Nobody
saying.
knows.
Like, I don't understand, because it sounded like it was a little like box. So I was
Well, let
confused.
me ask you a question. Is this series finished even with the fourth book?
The
It's at the end of the series?
From what I understand, the fourth book is the last book.
Okay, because it just make me wonder if Lindy being human had something to do with being able to catch that shadow. Because Tinkerbell masterminded it, but Wendy helped her.
Right. Because she couldn't do it on her own.
Right.
So maybe.
It doesn't really specify, but I mean, why does she need Tinkerbell being really powerful herself? Why does she need Wendy with no power?
I think it's gonna explain it in the. I'm hoping it explains in the fourth book. I haven't read the fourth one far enough yet. But there's a lot of stuff that happens between the second, the third, and the fourth that I know is gonna explain more. And actually, a lot is explained in the third book too about people.
Oh.
Yeah, girl, it's real interesting.
Okay.
So that's one of the things too. I'm trying not to say anything from the other books.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they're trying to figure out, like, they're trying to find the shadows. So Vane and Pan go after, I think they go after the light shadow, and Cass and Bash go after the dark shadow. So they put Winnie in her room. They're like, don't you leave, girl. And she's like, all right, that's cool, I'll stay. So they go out looking for the shadow, and Pan and Vane go out for the shadow. Well, while Pan and Vane are out for the shadow, they're close to it, but every time they get close, it darts off. So Cass and Bash are having the same difficulty, but there's a point where they get into a tree, and they're trying to get the shadow and narrow it down. And as they do, the shadow, like, I don't remember if the branch breaks or something happens, and Bash falls.
Now, y'all, we are back in Never Neverland. Not to mention that part.
No, I mentioned it.
Oh, did you? Oh,
did.
sorry. I'm so
Good.
sorry.
No, you're good. So so he falls to the ground, and he's bleeding. He's going through it. It's not looking like he's gonna make it. Even though they can like heal and stuff like that, he's like struggling because he's lost a lot of blood. So they get him back to the tree house or whatever. And when he's like, "What the hell happened? What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, we need to help him get towels." And so they're sitting there trying to figure out how to help him. And then she goes, "Well, didn't you say, killing you guys would say I don't believe in fair, like I don't believe in that thing?" And he's like, "Yeah." So she's like, "Well, what if I said the opposite of that?" He's like, "Okay, well, I mean, let's try it. Can't
hurt to try.
Yeah,
the man did say her died.
Yeah, so she kept saying, "I believe in fairies. I believe in fairies." And as she's saying it, he's healing, and that just was all the magic that he needed to recover. So he was fine. So he's okay. They're kind of like, all right, in a good space with that, but they still don't have the shadow. So then the dark shadow is a mess. It's a nuisance. It is a straight problem. So then
the dark shadow was sliced and diced in a second.
So Pan and Vane come back because they've lost the shadow now, but they see that it's gone off into the distance. So and they know whose territory it's gone to, and they're like, crap. We'll have to try to figure this out another day. So they get back. Pan is pissed. He's throwing stuff. He's upset. And that's where the first book ends.
Right.
So the second book is called The Dark One, which is it's going off of Vane. It kind of goes into Vane's story. So they're trying to figure out where the shadows are again, still. And they realize that the light shadow is it the light shadow or the dark? One of the shadows is on Hook's territory.
That is the light shadow.
The light shadow. Okay, so they realize that the shadow is on Hook's territory. In the midst of this, Pan and Vane are pissed because of having to try to find the shadow, and Hook's people are on his side of Neverland, and so they ended up killing them. And he's like, "We just wanted to come here because the beer is really good." And he's like, "Yeah, probably a bad day to do that because now you got to die." So they kill them or whatever.
Right.
So they set up this thing to go to Hook's territory to find his shadow. So, but they make it out.
Right. So, but they said, but let me tell you a little bit about this because I'm not trying to understand Cherry. Okay. So they knew that dark shadow, Bash and them had already taught them the dark shadow was in Hook's territory. We see them go over there. So, Hook, not Hook, but Peter Pan had told them, okay, Vane, I need you to take Cherry and go on over there. And he was like, why I gotta take Cherry? Because everybody annoyed with you. Nobody likes Cherry, okay? They're very annoyed with her. However, he be getting down with Cherry. And the only reason he get down with Cherry is because his dark shadow got to release energy. And the way he releases energy is he pretty much fucks Cherry, okay? So when he does that, Cherry be having like bruises all over her body whenever she mess with Vane. But she love it because she love Vane, even though Vane don't love her. So that's when you start. That's when you were saying that they was going to Hook's territory.
So they tell Hook's people like, hey, we need to come over there because one of our lost boys is out there, we think, and we just need to find him. Hook's like, I don't know, that sounds like a lie, but all right, whatever. So Hook has a right-hand man or woman. Her name is, what is her name?
Schmitty.
Yeah. Schmitty. So Schmitty is Hook's right-hand woman, and she been holding that man down from the very jump. But I think she along with Hook are like just mortal, like they're just regular humans. So but Homegirl is very trained, very skilled at what she do. So
right. And she black.
Yeah, okay.
I thought he wanted her. Like, I thought they were real romantically involved, but they were not.
I know, I got that vibe too, but then you kind of find out later in the story that wasn't the case.
They weren't, but he showed his own sister there.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, he did. That's kind of messed up, but
well, she was more valuable to him.
That's what it was, and at that point in time, he needed that asset rather than having a liability. Because that's what, unfortunately, everybody looked at Cherry as a liability because she was just kind of in the way. Like everybody kind of downplayed her and her strengths, and so he was talking to his good sis and was like, "Hey, girl, this sounds kind of crazy, but we gonna let them come over here." By this point, Tilly has been like, hey y'all, Pan found a shadow, because Tilly and Hook have been working together as well because they're trying to kill Pan. So Tilly's like, hey boo, Pan got his shadow, or is trying to find his shadow. Sounds like it's on your area. You need to try to find this thing first, like, because if he gets it, we gonna have a harder time getting rid of him. So they have this in the back of their heads, but Pan doesn't know that they know this. So they eventually, days have passed now, and they eventually go to Hook's territory to confront him and just talk about things, but also to see if they can find a shadow. So when they get there, they have a very interesting dynamic. So y'all remember in the Peter Pan movie, there was the actual crocodile that always had the ticking clocks and things like that. So the crocodile is Vane's brother.
Right.
He's not an actual crocodile.
And don't nobody like him. He's an enemy of everybody.
Everybody hates that man. So
he's so vicious. Very, very vicious.
Because the area that Vane and his brother grew up in is a dark one, but they also have this like really crazy history with like just torturing women and stuff like that. Like they have this really crazy history. That's one of the things that you find out about Vane, is that he invokes terror in people, and if you take off running, which he always tells them not to, he has to chase after them, and whatever happens is whatever happens.
Yeah, because he don't chase after them. The shadow changes after him.
Yeah, his eyes get real black, and he just kind of changes. But it gives him that release once he does that chase thing. It's a thing. Y'all got to read the book for a lot of the details and a lot of the smut, because it's crazy. And we're kind of going over it quickly, because if not, we'd literally be here all night. But,
like, for real.
But so they're kind of talking to one another, and they get into a little battle because they find his shadow. So they're fighting it out. Vane and is it Schmitty that's fighting each other, or is it Vane and Hook that's fighting each other?
Why would be mainly fight? Oh well, I don't know. They get into a fight, but I think we missed like a whole bunch, only because we didn't really talk about the her running from Vane and all this stuff. That was like before.
Yeah, that was before. All right, go ahead.
Because this is like the end of the book almost.
Oh, is it? Dang, I jumped that far. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay, because it's not that y'all. why are we skipping so much of this? Is because there's so much smut in there, y'all. Like, y'all just need to read or listen to the book because it has so much smut in it, but we just giving y'all the gist of it. So, y'all already know that Winnie been trying to get Vane forever. She been trying to get Vane because she don't understand him, but she also know that Terry has been with him. But she want them to herself. She keeps saying, I want them to myself. I want y'all to want me and nobody else. Like, y'all can't be with nobody else but me.
Before you get there, so the night that Pan couldn't find his shadow, he went to the town, and him, Cash and Bash and Vane were down in the town with a whole bunch of girls, and none of them were really touching the women. And Vane was telling him, like, hey, you know, if the darling walks out here, she gonna have something to say. And he's like, I mean, she don't run nothing over here. And he's like, okay. So sure enough, homegirl comes out of her room and sees the girl sitting on Pan's lap, and she just takes off running. So she takes off running and goes down to where the Lost Boys are, and she gets all up on a Lost Boy and is all in his face, kissing on him, and Pan snaps. Because the last time this happened in the first book, he literally ripped the heart out of the Lost Boy and killed him.
So he didn't even care about her like that, did you?
Right. So she's like,
he really care about her.
Right. So she's like, if you can touch, she's like, you didn't say anything about me touching. You said they can't touch me, but you didn't say nothing about me touching them. And he's like, I already told you the rules. And she's like, if you can touch, I can touch. So then they walk off. They're having this whole argument in front of everybody. So they go up to the room, and he's like, all right, what is it that you want? And she pretty much tells him that she wants all of them to herself. And he says, all right, bet. Okay, go ahead. From that part.
From what part?
From
where I was at?
Yeah, where you was at.
I don't know.
You was talking about how they were all hers at this point. They had all loved her.
Yeah, at this point they were all hers. They all loved her, but she has not had Vang did. So they kind of was celebrating. What was they celebrating? Even getting the shadows?
Yeah, so
not getting the shadows.
Pan actually ended up getting his light shadow.
Yeah, but this was before.
Oh, you're right.
He didn't get his light shadow till almost the end of that book.
Dang, what were they celebrating?
They were celebrating something. They was getting drunk. I don't remember what they was celebrating, but they was getting drunk. I think they might have been getting drunk just because Luke had said that they could come to his territory in 2 days.
Oh, that's right.
So they were celebrating that because we already know the history of Hook and Pan.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like getting drunk or whatever, and they was having a good time. And then when he walked over to the lagoon, what was it?
I think it was a lagoon.
A pond, a lagoon. Anyway, so she see Vane, and Vane was just like laying in the water, like floating in the water with his, like, I imagine his hands crossed behind his head with his eyes closed, just floating with his legs like
straight
propped
out
up on one another. Oh, well, maybe they were straight out. Maybe they were straight. I don't know. So anyway, so he knew she was there without him even opening his eyes. And he was like, are you going to get in? Or what? She was like, what is this in the water? And they were like the mermaids. And she was like, oh, this is what my mom was talking about. The mermaids in the water. Mm-hmm. And he was pretty much like telling her, if they like you. No, she was like, do they bite? He was like, no, if they like you, they will bite. So she gets in the water with him, and they talking, and Vane just kind of explaining himself to her about his dark shadow and his brother and all the stuff. She was asking questions. I love Winnie because she is a reporter, honey.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to get them questions. She's going to get them questions answered.
Homegirl low key is the feds.
Like, for real, because she was asking them questions.
Mm-hmm.
So she was asking him questions, and he heard all about that or whatever. And then after she had learned all this stuff about him, she started trying to kind of touch him and play with him. And he was like, girl, don't even try it. Don't even do it. Don't do it. Don't be touching on me and ripping on me and stuff. And then she seen his hair start turning white. One of his eyes start darkening. That's when the shadows start coming out. And he was like, Winnie, turned around and walked to the house. And she was looking, she was like, oh, she see his hair turning and stuff, she knew what it was about. And she was like, but you know what? I'm just about to run it. And he was like, don't do it, girl. Don't run. Do not run. And she took off running anyway. Oh, he went after her and caught that girl and beat the brakes off that girl.
On the tree, right?
On the tree, like beat that pussy up. You hear me? Then before he can get like, he did not cover anything, because before he could get to that released anger or released energy, he pushed her out for him. And he was like, just go in the house, just go. And she was like, no, I'm not going. He was like, I'm telling you, you better go ahead and go now, girl. And so she was just happy that she even got that much out of him. Then Carrie watched the whole thing.
Okay, good. I'm glad you
down.
said that. I'm so glad you said that, because that is super important.
We needed to get to that.
Yeah.
Carrie watched the whole thing go down.
And was
And so
heartbroken.
she goes and heartbroken, but girl, and what you be? I mean, she wanted the bad boy, and then she got the bad boy, and the girl knew that she wanted him, because she asked him in the beginning of the first story, which one you want? Okay.
Oh, true. Yeah. So it wasn't like she didn't know.
She knew. So and Cherry had came kind of like friends with her, but not really. She's like, because in the story, she's like, I wanted to not like her, but I like her. So after she seen that, it was just like, dang, you know? And so now you can go along with that, because that's pretty much the gist of that until that's your part happened.
Okay. So then they go to, the 2 days have passed. Onyx is over here making some noise. The 2 days have passed, and they are now on Hook's territory. They have this whole battle to get Pan Shadow, because they are like, all right, cut the shit. We know why you're here. He's like, I just want my stuff. Like, it is, just give me my shit back so I can go. So they have this whole battle. He ends up getting his shadow back, and they end up kind of leaving from there. But they get the light shadow. So the dark shadow is floating about, and it is a vicious shadow. So it somehow ends up coming back to the treehouse, where Cherry and where Winnie's at, and Cherry somehow traps it in the room. So,
no, it was in her room when she went in there.
Oh, okay. It was in the room when she was in there. So she has it trapped in there, and she's like, hey, Winnie, hey, girl, can you help me find something or something like that? And she has Winnie go into the room and locks her in there so she can't get out. So she just...
Right, because at this time, ain't the battle going on or Hook. The battle, like, this is happening at the same time the battle is happening with Pan and Hook, like before he even get the shadow.
Yep.
Everything, like, it's at the same time.
Yep. So
Vane took her all the way home.
Yeah.
Like, she was there at the beginning of the battle, wasn't she? And then Vane hurried up and flew her back home. It took him like 15 minutes.
Right.
I remember it saying in the movie it took 15 minutes. So he flew her back home to the territory and said, go to Hook's, because there was powers there already. And Vane killed the powers real quick. And then he was like, go to Pan's tomb. Because y'all remember Pan lives in the tomb because of the darkness. He couldn't get in the light. So he was like, go to Pan's tomb. Can't nobody get in there but like you. So now go ahead.
So Cherry, like I said, Cherry has the shadow locked in the room, and so she goes down to where Winnie's at and is like, hey girl, I really need help with something like that. So she goes up there and she locks her in. So the shadow
she was stupid for that, because why would she? I forgot what she wanted her to do, but it was stupid.
It was really dumb. It was really, really dumb. Like, girl, that doesn't even sound right.
And sweet, okay. Winnie was sweet with her though, because she was gonna take Cherry with her to that too. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The shadow is kind of like cutting her up and kind of ripping her shit. She screams and stuff like that going on, and then you don't hear anything. So Cherry's like freaking out at this point because she's like, crap, what did I do? Knowing that she was mad because homegirl got her man that wasn't her man. So she's like, oh, they're gonna kill me. They're going to absolutely kill me. So they eventually come back. Pan has his shadow now, has a light shadow. The twins, I don't remember what the twins were doing, but the twins are now there, and Vane's back. And so
they was going home to their dad, remember?
Well,
That's
yeah.
what they said.
So
in the story, after he got his shadow, he was like, now let's go home to our darling.
So they get back and they're like, where's Winnie? Where's Winnie? And Cherry's like, oh, I think she's in the room. I think she's just asleep. And they're like, well, no, because we told her to go to the tomb. So why is she in the room? She's like, I don't know. I don't, and so Vane's like, some ain't right. What you done did, girl? Right. What you done did? And she's like, I don't, like that. And they're like, no, what happened? So they end up, I'm trying to think if it was in this book or if it's in the second book that they discover what happened.
No, that was the end of the second book.
Okay. That was the end of the second book then, and I'll leave it at that.
That was almost really was like the beginning of the third book, really.
Oh, okay.
Because the third book is called The Vicious Darling.
Oh, and that's when they're explaining that. You're right, because at the beginning of the third book, they're talking about what was going on in that room. All right, so we're here. We did The Never King and the Dark One. We will be doing Their Vicious Darling, which is the third book, and the Fey Princes, which is the fourth book. As far as I know, that is the last book of this series. But yeah, you can find it on anywhere that you would like to buy a book, read a book, Audible, Kindle. It's on everything. Barnes & Noble has it, Goodreads, all that stuff. So, but yeah, I know the story, we haven't finished it yet, but how do you feel about what you've read so far?
I love it. I love it so much. And it's so crazy because when you was telling me about it, I was like, oh, it sounds so good, but I really didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so good, and I love this so much. I was just going to tell y'all who my 4 people were.
Okay, before you get to that, I think the thing that makes this story so cool is because it is such a different dark twist on Peter Pan, which most of us know. You may not know like a lot of it, but you know like the general idea of the story. And I just think it's such a dark, matured like remake of it that it just is really cool. So I really like it for that. And then adding the smut, like the story itself is really good without the smut. Because just the processes of the whole thing and all the action that takes place, but the smut on top of that makes it that much better.
Now, if you are one of our BTS fanfic listeners, that smut ain't nothing like what we used to now.
That is true. It's good though.
Let y'all know it's good now, but it is not as detailed as what we are used to. So be advised about that part. But it is still good without even reading that smut.
It is good. It is definitely a time to be read.
And I can't wait to read that next one.
Girl, it is so good. And there's so much more that's explained in it. And as stuff keeps happening, you're like, oh, no way. So, like
I cannot wait.
The third book ends. It ends so good. You're gonna be like, what?
I know I'm gonna finish it in like 2 days.
Yeah, because they're all very quick reads. The longest book, which was also still very quick to finish, was the second book, the dark one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the rest of them are very small. So, yeah, I would definitely check those books out. But what were you gonna say about how you envisioned these men looking?
Okay, guys, let me tell y'all who I thought in my head because it's very different for me. Because before we was doing BTS fanfiction, I was just imagining what they were looking like, but we already knew what they looked like. So with this, you just did not know what they look like. You just had to use your imagination. So yeah, let me tell y'all who my people are. Do not laugh, okay? So my bash because was Bond from Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah.
I
Wait,
know
that
that
was
so
your
funny, but
bash? Oh, that's right. That was your bash.
yeah, my bash was Bond from Seven Deadly Sins. I don't know why, but when I visited him, it was and it was like it was Bond, but it was like a real version of Bond, not the animated.
Right.
Yeah, it was it. So if y'all don't know who Bond is, he's from Seven Deadly Sins. It's an anime that me and Dee watched before. So you could just check him out. That's what he looked like to me. So my cast was Joe Manganiello, because y'all know I'll be talking about True Blood. And that's what I thought about.
Yeah.
Joe Manganiello. Okay. My maid was Jason Momoa.
Yep.
I just thought that was perfect.
Yeah.
And I got the inspiration really from Game of Thrones, because how he was in Game of Thrones.
Girl, that's so funny you said that. That's exactly what I thought of when I thought about Bane.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yes. I thought about Bane and that worked.
That is really funny.
Don't ask me what this man name is, because I cannot tell you. But Peter Pan was the man on 365 days.
I didn't see that, but I know.
If you know, you know. Look it up. I already sent you a picture.
Yeah, I saw the picture.
If you know, you know. You need to watch 365 days. Just watch it. It's a movie.
Yeah, that's what I keep
It's a whole movie. It was from like 3 years ago.
I know. I'm gonna check it out.
Just watch a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie. And it's a Netflix movie too.
So I kind of saw I saw Cash and Bash as the same with Seven Deadly Sins. That's one of them I saw as, and then the other one I couldn't decide, because I was like, I could see Kakashi from Naruto.
Oh yes.
So I could also see that as well. Obviously in like a human form. But Jason Momoa was definitely my vein. And homeboy from True Blood, also definitely a person that I was like, dang, I could see him being a character as well. My pan, I don't know this man's name. I do not know this man's name.
How is he?
He is. Oh, I'm tripping. Skarsgård. I think his name is Alec. He was in True Blood too. He played Eric.
Oh yeah.
I saw him as Ken. I can't remember what is his first name. I think his name is Alec.
Oh shit. I can't remember his name. He on a lot of stuff. I love him.
Yeah, but him. I saw him as my pan. And then like I said,
but he played no better role than that True Blood role.
I don't know, because I saw. Well, yeah, he did a great job as Eric Northman. I will forever call him Eric Northman, because he's played in so much stuff, and I'm like, Eric Northman.
Right.
But yeah, that's who I saw. So what I'm gonna end up doing is, if you guys end up listening to this or reviewing it or watching this on YouTube, it'll be audio mostly, but there'll be pictures added to it that'll just pop up randomly when we're talking about certain sections. So you can look at that. But yeah, so that was the first 2 stories. We'll be having the second 2 at a point. You can follow us on all of our social media, What You Read in Pod or Podcast. On most of our social media, you can email us at whatyoureadinpodcast@gmail.com. We do have our link tree that has a request form in there, a recommendation form. If you want us to read something and review it, you could definitely go in there and send us a little request. You can also still DM us or email us as well, but it's just a little bit easier on the form. But yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.